I really like this dish that I'm doing right now just because I don't like eating uni usually, and I found a way to pair it with other things and to prepare it where I don't think it's disgusting.
When I was younger, like 10 years ago, I could not stand uni. My girlfriend would eat it every time. I would look at it and I would give her my uni. And then just one day, it just became my favorite food.
I don't really like it still,
really?
but
you're pushing yourself to serve it?
No, I mean, I can't eat it by itself.
Oh, okay.
When you brine it in the seawater,
yeah.
it kind of pulls out all of that iodine flavor, and it's just like pure, like, briny ocean.
And the texture is like sort of
it plumps it up a little bit. It's really nice.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I could have just put it in like regular brine, but the seawater adds even more, like, because the thing that I like about uni is that like creamy, like ocean, like it tastes like you're just eating the ocean. And so if you just let it sit in ocean, it's gonna taste more like the ocean. It's from Monterey Bay, and there's literally a guy who goes out in the ocean with a bucket and then gets water and then ships it to me. And it is surprisingly not cheap. I think the entirety of what I do is to get rid of the teen chef title. I hope that one day I will be remembered for something more than just being that kid who cooked.
Risk is something that's based in fear. And if you believe in what you're doing and you do it with integrity, then like anything, some people will not necessarily relate to it. Like anything you ever do, but to be constricted by that projection of fear of being misinterpreted limits you so much. And if you don't take those chances, then you're just doing the same thing again and again, and that's not going to help anyone.
I think a lot of times, you know, you have ideas in your mind, and I don't have a specific one that failed necessarily, but when you're working on a dish, you're like, this is going to be awesome, and this is going to be great, and then you do it and you're like, that was just crazy. Like you didn't think, you know, you weren't thinking of the actual ingredient and what you were working with. You were thinking what you wanted it to be.
The cooking industry is very afraid of new things, so it's like there's a lot of criticizing and like scrutiny and all of these stuff put on me, but I kind of take that and thrive with it.
Whoa. Saying this is the best sea, because normally I'm not a sea urchin fan.
Neither am I.
But as you see, I'm actually I'm digging on it. Yes, this is awesome. Thank you, man.
Fantastic.
So many layers upon layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I like it, because it's 3 components, but there's like a lot of different, in every component there's like a lot of different things to make it taste really, like, have a lot of depth and
Sweet.
Right.
My compliments to the chef, man. It's good.
I'll try it. I'm gonna be adventurous. Uni's never been my
Nice. Same with me though.
It's a really intense
Do you like
consistency.
it? It's very tasty. You're a fan. Great.
That's really interesting taste. The coffee. I taste the coffee.
Yeah.
Cool.
One day you were like, I think I'm just gonna combine these things, and it just worked.
Just worked.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right, let's try it.
So I came up with this last summer at like 3:30 in the morning. I was going through the sea urchin inventory to see how much we had in house, and I was like, wonder what would happen if I brined some sea urchin in seawater. I kind of always am thinking about coffee, so then it just kind of came. It came about where it was just like, I'm gonna make a puree and like use this coffee butter that I actually learned at Modernist Cuisine. I honestly had no clue if uni and coffee would go well together, but it turned out like it was one of those things where like the first time you make it, it's like you're like perfect, and I haven't changed it since the first time. It's rare, but it happens every once in a while.
I'm gonna try a little bite of everything because I wanna get it all.
It's amazing. We'll try it again.
That is really fucking good, man.
You're gonna have to believe him.
I know you can't taste this on camera right now, but this is delicious.
For the first few years, it was very like, a lot of the things that I would create were nuances of other people's stuff, and then I got to a point where I was comfortable in like my skills and knew enough ingredients and that where I could just start creating my own dishes. You have these fundamental skills, and then what sets you apart is what you do with those fundamental skills that everyone knows. Maxime, I met when the founder of Modernist Cuisine asked me to like come up and like help out to do one of their dinners and then eat at it. So I went up and met Maxime, and then we kind of like hit it off, and it was just like such a cool experience to be there with like the lab and seeing all that stuff. And then he invited me back another time to do like a collaboration dinner with him and a bunch of other chefs from Seattle.
The new generation of chefs has really pushed that boundary where it used to be where you're a chef and you protect your information. You know it's sort of this very strict competitive nature. But this generation is shifting. Information is all there, and the power of the chef, the capacity of chefs to tell stories, to initiate change, is it's the momentum is so great that that with these collaboratives, it really is collaborative. You eliminate yourself from the process when you're honoring someone else's thing. It's really wonderful to see. Noble Roots is a dish that I've served for the last 2 years, and it's always usually in winter or autumn, and it's honoring these vegetables, the onions, the parsnips, the carrots, things that we kind of take for granted at this point, and treating them as the centerpieces of a great dish. I was always an omnivore, but as soon as I moved to Seattle, like a couple of months took me, I totally left meat. Eliminating the meat is something that's just, to me, far more interesting when done properly. And this is going to be a whole composition of carrots that we glaze in carotene butter. The pigments, the carotenoids, and a lot of the flavor is fat soluble, so it transfers over to the butter. So you get this bright orange butter. You also have a condiment of mustard seeds, sesame seeds, and quinoa. Those are seasoned with an aromatic North African oil, which is cooked in mason jars in a water bath for 12 hours. Because you don't have the oxidation, you don't have the air, the richness, the sweetness of the flavor, which you'll see is very pervasive. And then we have the baked beets, the sunchokes that have been cooked sous vide, that I will caramelize. Little deep fried, like those are crispies of cauliflower. Then we finish with the raw vegetables shaved over the top. You know, you can buy these vegetables for so little, but then what do you transform them into? How do you honor them in the right way? And really, as I said, make them the centerpiece. That's the goal. Here, we've got watermelon radish and golden beets and carrots, and these are going to be the garnishes for the aesthetic. And we're going to highlight all of their qualities: the raw, the glazed, the roasted, the purees. When we make the carrot puree, we actually cut out the central stem. It is the artery of a carrot. And so in many cases, the stem is more bitter because it's absorbing all the calcium from the soil, and it's the calcium that gives that bitterness. The outside is going to have just that pure sweetness.
In like the next 5 or 10 years, there's going to be very few restaurants serving meat, and it's going to migrate mostly just to vegetables. And I think the focus is just going to be how can we make these things that we have that are not so delicious, that are just like cheap and can grow easily, really delicious and beautiful and like artistic as well.
To shift how we relate to these products, you have to create a whole environment of delicious combinations that shifts your perspective of how to interpret something as humble as a carrot or a turnip or a radish, things that you kind of just off the sides. Center.
For me, what I am inspired by is the beauty of the product and the people who make it. So, I mean, maybe you could say farming is an art form, and how they have such pride, and how they take care of their product and you have a lot of responsibility to take care of the product when you have it in your possession and turn it into something beautiful.
I met Angela at 11 Madison Park, where she used to be the pastry chef, and I don't think I'm very good at like doing pastry and desserts, because every time I'd go to like work for Angela, she'd make these like incredible like creations that are delicious but so much work, and I would just like mess so many things up. But every single time I kept going, and then every single time I would like be like, oh, I know how to do this now, and it was a cool thing, and so yeah, I've known her for almost like 4 years now.
I think he was 13, so yeah, I'm watching him mature. It's like having a child of my own, but not having to do all the stuff that comes with it. So right now, I'm filling a canister over here, a foaming canister, with a yogurt, aerated yogurt. And the dish itself is based off of Meyer lemons. Moving from the East Coast to the West Coast, I have been lucky enough, blessed with a Meyer lemon tree in my backyard. And it is Meyer lemon season. So tonight I will be making a Meyer lemon curd with a lemon poppy seed cake that's been crisped in the oven, and an olive oil emulsion, and candied olives with aerated yogurt on top. So it's kind of like a lemon tart, but with, you know, a little twist. I like to take a flavor that's familiar and kind of look at it differently, and maybe pair it with something that you normally wouldn't pair it with.
I really taste all 6 things.
Awesome.
Oh my God. Normally when concoctions are mixed, it's just,
It's all one. It's all
yeah.
one thing.
And it's not just like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. It's amazing.
You're starting from these ingredients that look nothing like they're going to when you're done with them. And so it's like you take flour and you take sugar and water and eggs and you turn them into like, it's almost like magic. You know, you take this, looks totally different. It's not like you're, you know, just using a piece of meat that already has like a shape to it.
It's the performance begins in the kitchen and then carries over for every course where there's a story told. And all the chefs on the team create dishes for those dinners, and they can go and tell a story, creating more layers of interpretation, because you have all these different minds. So to say that one course for this group of people is going to be the same or is going to be as powerful is limited. But if you layer cleverly the other sensory aspects, then it can touch other people's minds who may not have recognized its value earlier.